So on Friday, we started to see people sharing emails from Xbox regarding the delisting of Forza Horizon 4. Now, Fuzzy, of course, you are our racing main, so I'm going to you first on this. Now, okay, so it got a lot of smoke for the delisting, but they explained why they were delisting it, right? They were delisting it because, well, it was the licensing thing with the cars, the licensing thing with the music. These things happen. That how long we've been playing Forza Horizon 5. But you see, that's not where the story ends, Fuzzy, because not only did they put it on sale if you wanted to go out and buy it, and you buy it, it's yours, right? It's being delisted from Xbox Game Pass. But that's not where the story ends, ladies and gentlemen. The story ends and begins with people in the community sharing some emails where Xbox was giving away the game for free if you bought the DLC. And I seen not a few, I seen hundreds of posts of anyone that bought the DLC, meaning, like the seasons packs and any of the stuff like that. You get an email from Xbox saying, oh, by the way, thank you for supporting the game. Here is the game for free. So if you didn't own it and you played it through Game Pass, but you bought the DLC for, like, let's say early access, or just because you wanted to be a part of the DLC, you got the game for free. And I think that is a story worth talking about in 2024, Fuzzy, simply because there is abso-freaking-lutely no way Nintendo would give you the 8-bit version of Mario Brothers. No, they would charge you $20 for that if you wanted to play it on your new system. The same thing could be said easily about what's going on with PlayStation. PlayStation are the kings and queens of nickel and diming. This is a great move, and a move I think you only find with Microsoft and Xbox. Let's get into it, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't receive it for free, but the reason why is because I bought the full version at launch. So for me, it's still an awesome deal, even though, yes, I know I paid full price at launch and stuff like that. But for those that like to do the upgrades to get the early access or the access to the DLC and things like that, if a game winds up being delisted, the DLC is no use to you. And Microsoft went above and beyond by just basically saying, you know what, here's a token for the base game. So at least, even though we're taking it off the store, you can still play the game. Because if they didn't do it that way, the DLC would just be sitting on your hard drive saying, oh, you have to purchase the game. And then you go to purchase the game and then it's like not available or can't be found. So it would probably piss off a lot of people. So I appreciate that Microsoft took the time and effort to go ahead and do this, because it's above and beyond the right thing to do, as far as being able to allow players to continue playing that game that a lot of them, if they're anything like me, put tons of hours into it. But we've seen Microsoft do similar things like this in the past, although I can't remember which titles they've done exactly like this. But I know there was a circumstance where they did like upgrades. I think it was for like Gears 4. I'm pretty sure Crispy can probably get into it, where it was like if you were an Xbox Ultimate customer, you almost got the DLC kind of for free or something to that effect. But yeah, Microsoft is definitely pro-consumer in a lot of ways. Sure, I'm pretty sure people will point out, a thing here or there that might not be, in line with that. But overall, when it comes to games, why have it where the person that spent the $30 or whatever for the DLC now basically has of no use, or that $20 basically goes to waste, when the game now at this point is probably on sale for under $10. And they're like, well, the person had it for 2 or 3 years, or actually at this point it's probably close to 5 or 6 years from when Forza Horizon 4 came out. Why not we just give them the token? It's a gesture of good faith, and more than likely that's how you retain customers in your ecosystem, by doing things like that. Like, a consumer will now know that, well, even though some games do have to leave because of licensing reasons, they will still have access to that overall title, even if they just did the upgrade. Because the way Microsoft probably looks at it, if you've been subscribed this entire time, especially, they're getting their money's worth. So it balances out in the end. But this is still a great gesture of something that they didn't have to do, but they went above and beyond and did. And I greatly appreciate it.
Again, is it the story of the century? let's just say, is it the story of 2024? It's not, but it is a, like Fuzzy was saying, a nice gesture of appreciation. And again, the reason why, Gamsley, it's such a big deal is because we know that Sony and Nintendo would never do this. As a matter of fact, Sony, the rumor is they're looking to bring back a way to play PS3 games on your PS5. Now, I am very excited for that because MotorStorm is one of my favorite racers of all time. And we're gonna, and it's possible. It's gonna be a select number. I would love to play Resistance 1 again. And Resistance 1 is one of my favorite titles at launch. Another phenomenal game. The the issue here is that there's no way they're gonna do it for free. They're gonna charge us $10, and of course, like a fucking bonehead, I am going to wind up buying both those games because I like those. I don't even like them; I love them. Gamsley, this is kind of a cool thing. You know, you bought the DLC, like Fuzzy just said, you would logistically have no use of it if you don't have the game. And Microsoft is saying, yeah, it's being delisted. You know what? Thanks for supporting this at launch. Here's the game for free. And again, this isn't just select people. This is, I mean, hundreds of people. I've seen posts, videos, you name it. Let's get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, you know, I think PlayStation, you know, and Nintendo, the way they dive deep into the back catalog is services, right? So when we're thinking PlayStation 3 games and stuff like that by Sony, we're probably going to get that in a PlayStation Plus / like cloud gaming thing, which Xbox has done also. But yeah, it's a different thing with them, but Xbox has been shouting from the rooftops that they want to preserve whatever they can. They want to make sure that, you know, everything you have crosses generations and is accessible to you. And they're laying the groundwork daily for that, to reassure customers that, you know, your games aren't going to go away. When stuff like this happens, that you're compensated and, you know, you get to keep your game. Shout out to them, you know. You're right, the other two don't do it to this extent. They seem to cut corners a little bit. I'm super happy that people get to keep playing this game. It behooves them to, like, it really does. They want you in their ecosystem, period. That's why they're doing this. And that game has a hardcore fan base that keeps going back, and it would just not make any sense to completely lock it down and not have it accessible anymore and not have you play it. People are playing it, so they want to make good on that and keep it in your library. But yeah, it just on the flip side, it kind of sucks that, you know, we live in a world where daily hundreds and thousands of games just get deleted and burnt
Go away
in the
Yeah.
ether, right? It just sucks. And yeah, if you want this game, you know, go get it in your library as quick as possible, because yeah, we never know when these games are going to evaporate. But good on them for trying to make good on this in some sort of way. That's all I
Yeah.
gotta say. But
No, it's a great point. I think you're onto something, and again, it is a slight, hey, thanks for supporting the game, but I think it does speak massive volumes, at least in my opinion. I really do.
yeah.
I'm glad to see it happening. Look, Forza Horizon 4, not my favorite in the series. It was good. I very much enjoyed my time with it. 5 for me is probably the best in the series. I'm hoping that 6 gets to Japan, and then we can move that title and that crown over.
You know, on that note, sorry to cut
That's
you.
right.
The thing about these games, right? For the people who are like, whatever, it's Horizon, whatever 4, you know, it's like, yeah, but they're in different environments, and that's what makes these special. Like, you could drive around in a completely different state and environment, so that's why the earlier sequels of these games should be accessible, because you want to drive in these places, right?
Yeah.
If a big selling point is like, look how beautiful this game is, look at this place you're able to drive in and all this stuff, it's like, oh, that's a grab. That's like, oh, I want to experience that. I could go back. That is a reason to go back and drive through, I don't know, Mexico or something, right? Or drive through Japan again. So these games should always be accessible, you know? They should just always be there. So yeah, it's kind of scary that they're just wiping it out, but again, good on them for giving this away, but I really heavily suggest if you love these games, go get it as quick as possible.
And Crispy Bomb, let's get your hot take on this, because again, we are in an era of games where every company and corporation, no surprise, wants to make money. We know Sony does it a bit different. We know Nintendo does what Nintendo does. Xbox always seems to be on the good foot of giving things away, giving extra, giving back to its community. That's what they do. And again, here we are, Forza Horizon 4 being delisted. And that means that the game is going away. You're not going to be able to play it if you don't own it. And once it's delisted, well, you're not going to be able to get it again, at least digitally. Now, would you be able to find it somewhere at the physical disc? I don't know if it's being delisted. Would you be allowed to play it if you own the physical disc? I'm not sure. But people getting this game now for free who bought the DLC seems super cool to me. What are your thoughts, man?
Well, I mean, it's just another pro-consumer move from them. They do things that nobody else is willing to do. I mean, if anything, it would be pro-consumer if PlayStation said, oh, you can buy this for $10, or because it's being delisted, you can't play it. But instead, they just give it to you. And by the way, Fuzzy, it was Gears 5. You're talking about Hive Busters, because Gears 4 only had the season pass. It didn't have any DLC involved. Other than that, like, there are games that they have charged, DLC for and have not. And this is one of them where they've charged for some of the DLC, the Hot Wheels and some of these other things. Mm-hmm. So, you look at it and you say, can we help people keep playing the game, keep the hype up for something that it's probably license involved more than anything? They probably said they don't want it released in Game Pass anymore. These licensees of the car makers, whatever it may be, even music probably. And they say, okay, but what if they actually have the game, like they purchased it? So then they're like, yeah, no, that's fine. So then Microsoft's like, hey, here you go. You bought DLC. You are a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber or whatever it may be. You bought some of the DLC. Here's the game. So you have it and you can continue playing. Is that somehow a bad thing? I would say no. I mean, some people will probably spin some kind of wheel and say, oh, well, it's this and this. Oh, they're delisting it. Okay, well, they wouldn't delist it unless there was a reason for it, number one. Number two, for them to go, what I would see for a company as big as Microsoft, or, you want to say Xbox, go above and beyond and give anybody that purchased that said DLC, even if it's probably one. I've heard people say, hey, I bought the first DLC, I didn't buy the second one, and I just got it off Game Pass, to get that full game, which at the time was what, $60? So
yep.
I don't really, there's nothing to hate about this. If anything, other companies need to look at this and say, sometimes doing the right thing will give you good press, and you don't have a defense force around it, because I'm not defending anything. They did it. And maybe this is a good thing, and maybe having engagement in the game still, regardless of all said, things that happen within having, named cars and named music involved nowadays, and still just doing this is actually a good thing for your community. If Fuzzy wants to go play 5 and then, his buddy says, I want to go play 4, and you have it, like he bought it, so you're not going to get that. You already bought it. But if that said person's in Game Pass and now he has that code, I mean, it's community engagement. It's one of those things saying, hey, we didn't forget about you. And I think that means a lot to those people that are invested in Horizon 4. And I think that's what's important.